Greetings!
After like 100 years of slumber, I am back with a very different video. I've never really done anything like this, but I couldn't find a lot of people on YouTube talking about this, so I'll quit yapping and get into it. It's been a short while since Cult of the Lamb introduced the lore tablets and lost messages in the Sins of the Flesh, aka 6 Guns and Alcohol update. I've already 100%ed the game and got all of them, but I could not understand almost anything when I first read them. Now that I've actually sat down and read through them carefully, looked through the internet, read some theories on Reddit and YouTube, I think I have like a general idea of the lore, hopefully. I'll start with the 3 lost messages. A torn letter stained with blood. It's found in the graveyard, and it's obviously written by the executioner. I mean, he has his own statue in the graveyard, I don't know why. It briefly notes about the sheep genocide and the main character being brought to the ritual grounds where the game begins. Ripped note. Written in fear, covered in dirt. It's found in Monch's room, and I think it's her writing. It's probably recent in the game, and it documents the consequences of our crusades. Offering to the Owl. A prayer to the hunter. This one's found in Haro's room, and it's pretty interesting. It suggests that Haro was god of the hunt. Kinda reminded me of the Greek goddess Artemis, who is the god of hunt, nature, and even childbirth and care for children, which kinda is implied in the note. But I don't know, maybe I'm looking too much into this. It's later implied that Haro was a god that only survived because he gave up on his beliefs and possibly his godhood too, but we'll get into that. The Ancient Tablets. Writings from a time long past. This is where it gets more complicated. So, a lot of people think it's from the bishop's perspective, especially the part, I vow that those who will not serve in their life will serve with their death instead. Sounds like it would be said by the one who waits. And there are some more tablets that could be interpreted as written by the bishops, but I think it's most likely all written from the perspective of one person. The tablets tell a story of upbringing and demise of one certain god. The first tablet talks about becoming a god, and mentions, "She, feathered hand of great ones gone, has seen me to be worthy." I think this is talking about chemach, but I'll talk about her a little more later. The second tablet talks about gods already dead, reminiscing of their power and seeking their understanding. It also has the line, "I vow that those who will not serve in their life will serve with their death instead." The third tablet doesn't have a lot. It just talks about slowly realizing how it feels to be worshipped by people and being like them once. Another tablet expands on this and now mentions 3 feathered beasts, pondering why they aren't hungry for power and godhood like others are. These 3 feathered beasts are most likely Klonek, Kudai, and Chemach, siblings apparently born under the very first god, guardians of godly tools, which are obviously weapons and curses, cards, and relics. This means that these 3 feathered beasts are not gods, but something completely different, and they do not crave godly power. The 5th tablet talks about finding a giant godly skull, surrounded by strange mushrooms with spots like eyes. This is probably Spore Grotto, since Spore Grotto looks like it has a giant skull overgrown by mushrooms. It would also explain the living mushroomos and weird mind-controlling mushrooms. The next tablet talks about Chemach and her succumbing to madness. It is implied that she was in charge of distributing crowns to new gods, but with her very own nature and mind, those duties are now lost. A lot of time must have passed because the 7th tablet talks about the author's memory growing weak. Coincidentally, right after we hear about Chemach stopping her duties, there is an influx of young gods, I quote, "gods by right no longer divine, killing each other." One specific young god is mentioned, seeking war, and is promptly dismissed. This is probably Shamura, since they're the god of war and they must have been pretty young at this time. The 8th tablet just talks about more gods dying, the numbers dwindling, and the author staying strong. But the 9th tablet has a lot. It mentions a name for the first time, actually. I'm not even sure if I can spell this. Yingya? I don't know. Yingya is mostly speculated to be god of seasons, hence the line, Yingya cannot be found and the leaves change no more. The tablet also says that the owl chose attack the author cannot condone, suggesting that Haro let go of his beliefs and somehow lost his godhood to survive the purge. Author is called the greatest of the fanatics and says they will rather perish than sacrifice their own devotion. They declare, "Great ones, I am yours eternally." The last tablet says, "He of havoc, he of blight, she of hunger, they of might. He that lays a soul to rest, 5 remain of hundreds blessed." But there is a different version of the last tablet that was cut for simplicity. It reads, "I am shamed. I deserve no forgiveness. I deserve to die here. Shrouded in sin, I renounce the first gods. How easily pain made a defector of me. I will take whatever punishment is due, but I beg you, reader of these chronicles, remember, they call their faith old, but they are nothing more than heretics." That's a weird shit of attitude from the author, who seemed extremely devoted to the first gods, but now they say they renounce them. It was pretty interesting to me. Some kind of pain forced them to sin against their own beliefs. Was it the actual personified sin we encounter in the game that shifts our crown to a snake? What happened to them after? I don't believe they're actually gone. I mean, just look at the triangular amalgamation that gives us the tablets. After receiving the first tablet, we get, "I await one who values truth over all else." And when we get the last tablet, it says, "It is done. Take this and remember me." Then we get a snake follower form. I mean, you thinking what I'm thinking? This thing has a crown on top of it. It's said that Haro lost his godhood, and he has a crown that has an X instead of an I, implying that it's dead. This thing also has a cross or like a plus mark on the crown, and it also has eyes all over it. It seems to me like this thing is a living remnant of a god. By giving you the tablets, it may want to take revenge on the bishops by showing you what they actually are and that they are basically heretics to the even older gods, or it's trying to warn you from the sin that it was consumed by, I don't know. Anyways, there's a little bit of lore on Chemach and Klonek in the Pilgrim comic, where we basically get confirmation that she gets the relics from fallen gods. Therefore, the names of the relics indicate that there were probably once beings named, and I'm probably gonna pronounce them like ass, Laplace, Allah, Aethril, Marabis, Kephomite, Anchorite, Yaka, Fowler. This one's description is pretty much concrete proof. Takach, Galvar, Icegore, Slithor, Fervant, Shunru, Sithi, Varaka, Turua, and maybe more, since the clasped hands literally state in their description that their name was forgotten. And I'm not sure if Starved is a name of a god or not. Based on the relic descriptions, the author of the tablets could be maybe Slithor, since that one was most definitely a snake with power to corrode or poison, but it could also have been literally anyone, and the snake form we get is just a nod to the new sin mechanic. I also just now realized that the tablets look like they're made out of scales, so yeah. Anyways, that's all. Tablets were written by an old god who died at the end.